Greetings, fellow environmentalists and mindset changers. Timothy Kamuzupiri here from Mizu EcoCare. Today, I would like to talk about three organizations that are important in our country, Zambia. ZESCO, Zambezi River Authority, and the Energy Regulation Board. If I had the opportunity to give them advice, this is what I would say. ZESCO, you're not just an electric utility company. You're not just a power company. You're not just the generator of 80% of the power consumed in Zambia in terms of electricity. You're not just a business whose responsibility is transmission, operations, and trade. You are a company that heavily relies on healthy ecosystems. The Zambezi River needs healthy watersheds in order for it to capture enough water from rainfall to take into the river course and accumulate in the dam to produce our power. Without healthy ecosystems, there is no water to generate any power. When we look at what's currently happening along the length of the Zambezi, there is a high degradation of the watersheds. There is a high degradation of the forests and woodlands that make up these watersheds. ZESCO has a responsibility to let Zambians know why it's important for us to protect the source of the Zambezi, why it is important for us to regenerate our woodlands and forests. Without these ecosystems, guess what happens? The very essence for the existence of ZESCO disappears. Your jobs disappear. So I honestly do not understand why the environmental units and communications units for ZESCO do not want to be out everywhere on radio, television, and our communities talking about climate change and ecosystem regeneration. This is an important role you must play. So let's stop emphasizing the power generation. Let's emphasize the source of that power and why we need to protect that source. The Zambezi River Authority. Your job and responsibility is not just to monitor water levels and the river flow of the Zambezi on behalf of Zambia and Zimbabwe. Your job as the Zambezi River Authority is to give a full background on how you are going to protect this important resource. The Zambezi River is not just important for Zambia and Zimbabwe, it's important for the entire southern region, for the entire southern block of Africa. Each country benefits from the power generated from our Kariba Dam. Zambezi River Authority, you have a responsibility using your environmental unit and communications unit to help change the mindsets of the Zambian and Zimbabwean citizens. They need to understand why it's important for them to change their lifestyles. They need to understand why deforestation is bad for ecosystems and eventually bad for the survival and future of the Zambezi River. They need to understand why they should take care of the environment. They need to understand why they have a responsibility to take care of the Kavango Zambezi Transboundary Conservation Area. It is not just an area vital for wildlife, it's an area vital for the survival of the Zambezi River. The Energy Regulation Board in Zambia. Your role is not just to ensure consumers receive quality service at affordable prices. Your role is to talk about the source of that energy you're regulating. And the source of that energy is our natural resources. If those natural resources disappear, guess what disappears next? The energy and your jobs. So we need to talk about and emphasize how we're going to protect our natural resources so that the energy supply is sustainable. The Energy Regulation Board has a responsibility to look at our natural resources, our ecosystems. It has a responsibility to talk about how we'll protect these ecosystems. It has a responsibility to go out to the public and talk about mindset change. Energy is more than just use. It's about conservation of the resources that produce that energy. Talking to ZESCO, Zambezi River Authority, and the Energy Regulation Board collectively, your environmental units, your communications units have a responsibility to talk about your green policies, and I hope you have green policies. They have a responsibility to talk about climate change. They have a responsibility to talk about ecosystem regeneration. They have a responsibility to talk about tree planting. They have a responsibility to talk about protecting our forests, woodlands, and watersheds. They have a responsibility to talk about a just green energy transition. They have a responsibility to talk about mindset change through environmental education. They have a responsibility to talk about deforestation, charcoal burning, and how they threaten our energy stability. They have a responsibility to talk about green energy. This is not meant to be a rant. It's meant to be advice to these three critical bodies we have in Zambia. We should go beyond the use of energy in terms of how we look at ourselves as organizations. We're supposed to have a holistic look, a look at the bigger picture, the source of the energy that we're producing, the source of the energy that we are maximizing to develop the nation. If we don't protect the source and the resources at the source, the energy supply dwindles and eventually stops. If it stops, our economy stops, our lives stop. Let's do everything we can to talk about the environment and ecosystems and the source of the energy we treasure. Thank you for listening, and God bless.